Very good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Sanket Charkha, welcome you for the next lecture or the continuation of the lecture series on international business environment. And we are on the fourth chapter, that is international economic institutions and agreements. We are seeing it and we are understanding what are the various international economic institutions. And in the earlier lecture slide, we have seen or understood with respect to the international economic institutions of WTO, IMF, World Bank, and UNCTAD. We have also dealt with and we have seen the tariff and non-tariff barriers. We have yesterday in my last lecture, we have seen or understood with respect to the balance of payment account, the concept and significance of balance of payment, the current and capital account components, and so on. Now let's look at the further scenario or the next lectures that is into existence. Here in this particular slide, you can see the world map that has been given for you or presented for you. And at this particular situation, you can see the different continents. So based on these different continents, we have different world organizations that are into existence, and it comprises of the various countries. First thing, you and on the left hand side, you can see North America, South America, and the Greenland. In the center of this particular world map, you can see the European zone, the African zone, the Middle East, the Central Asian zone, the Russian zone, the Federation of China zone, the Asian zone, and lastly, the Australia and the Southeast Asia. So in this way, there are different countries or different nations, and accordingly, the continents have been formed in the world economy and at the national level or at the international level. Now, understanding the international context with respect to the financial institutions or the global institution, the global competition is governed by the GATT, IMF, and United Nations. Broad judgment can be analyzing based on the performance indicators about how the well country is doing. So based on the performance of a respective country, you need to identify and you have to understand about what is the performance of a particular country, whether it is at a profit making or whether it is a loss making, what is the balance of payment situation of a particular country, whether it is a deficit or whether it is a surplus situation at every point of time. Now, looking at the international context one by one. The first context is with respect to the European Union. The origin of the European Coal and Steel Community, that is ECSC, was formed in the year 1952, and EU, that is European Union, consists of the three organizations, that is ECSC, the EEC, and the Euratom. So these three organizations have come together and they have formed the concept or the group called as an European Union. So these are the various flags and the various member countries of European Union you can see in this particular slide. So the various flags of these particular nations you can see which form the composition or control of the European Economic Zone that is into existence. As per the chart or as per the graphical representation in terms of the world map, you can see the green color map, that the green color shaded region specifies the concept or the purview of the European Economic Zone. The flags of the member states of the European Union, you can see at this particular point of time, the European Union comprises of Austria, Denmark, Greece, Lithuania, Portugal, Sweden, Belgium, Estonia, Hungary, Luxembourg, Romania, UK, that is United Kingdom, Bulgaria, Finland, Ireland, Malta, Slovakia, Cyprus, France, Italy, Netherlands, Slovenia, Czech Republic, Germany, Latvia, Poland, Spain, and here at the last you can see the flag or the design of the European Union country or a particular group as a nation. So in this way, these are all the member nations or the member countries of European Union, and they are formed together by the three major organizations or three major nations. The North American Free Trade Association or the agreement, that is NAFTA. NAFTA came into force in the year 1994, and the most affluent nations of the world, it has been treated as NAFTA. The major three major components or the contributors of NAFTA are USA, Canada, and Mexico. With respect to the objectives of NAFTA, to create the new business opportunities, that is particularly in the state of Mexico, to enhance the competitive advantage of the companies operating in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, and to improve and consolidate the political relationship among the member countries. NAFTA has eliminated all the tariff and trade barriers with respect to the countries association of USA, Canada, and Mexico from 1st of January 2008. So it is a free trade economy wherein any transaction, any activity, any good imports and export activity that has been conducted between USA, Canada, and Mexico is tax-free or it is duty-free. So all the tariff and non-tariff barriers have been reduced by the NAFTA association. Now, understanding or see the composition of NAFTA in chart or the in the world map format. So here in this particular concern, you can see the green chart that has been defined, or the green shaded portion is the member countries of NAFTA, that is United States, Mexico, and Canada. They form the composition of NAFTA. Now, the next composition or the major group forms of the ASEAN, a group of 6 countries, that is Singapore, Brunei, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia, agreed in the year January 1992 to establish a common effective preferential tariff front. So, in this way, the formation of ASEAN has come forward for to create the close coordinates, share their economic and human resource, and achieve the synergy in the development of agricultural sector, industry, and the services sector. So in this way, the ASEAN has come forward and it has been into existence. The member countries in this particular chart or in this particular slide, you can see the member countries of ASEAN, which is the Myanmar, the Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Laos, Vietnam, Philippines, and Brunei Darussalam. So these are all the member countries or the member nations, which are mostly the Southeast Asian nations, and they are forming their respective group, which is of ASEAN. Going further with the concept or the origin of SAARC. SAARC is a certain membership or a group of countries or nations of India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Pakistan, Maldives, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, established SAARC on the December 1985. The major objective or the purpose for SAARC is to enhance the self-reliance of the member countries and to enhance the cooperation with other developing countries. So in this way, this was the major objective or purpose of establishing SAARC. Here in this particular diagram or chart, you can see all the member countries. That is, with respect to the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and India. So, major contributor or major participant in the SAARC is India economy as a major nations. Now, the composition or understanding of BRICS. BRICS is a particular concern wherein which is comprising of a certain five member countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So the portion that has been marked at green perspective is in this particular slide of the member countries of BRICS. The R that is in this particular slide, you can see Russia, South Africa at this particular perspective, Russia and China here, and the Indian economy at this particular perspective. So in this way, the 5 countries have come together and they have formed the concept or the perspectives of BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So the member countries, along with their flag, along with their national emblem, is been provided at this particular slide. So you can see here the composition or the contributors of BRICS. Now, coming with the financial institutions or the financial association with respect to the financial institution which are providing the financial assistance to the member countries or an individual countries. The first thing is the IMF. IMF is a post-war international monetary institution, and full form of IMF is International Monetary Fund. IMF came into force to promote the economic and financial cooperation among the member countries with a view to facilitate the expansion and balance of growth of world trade. It was established on 1st of March in the year 1947, and origin of IMF is as on that date. Objectives of IMF: to avoid the competitive devaluation and exchange control. So in order to control the devaluation and devaluation of a particular currency, in order to maintain the balance of currency crisis with respect to the foreign exchange market, that is either the inflation or deflation in the currency prices, appreciation or depreciation in the currency value, the IMF is into existence. Another perspective, that is exchange control, that is whenever the particular dollar currency was adopted as a dollarization scenario in respect to the most dominating currency into the international market, the IMF came forward and act as a reserve regulatory or the reserve body, wherein if any country at any point of time needs a certain sum of money as a fund perspective or as a loan perspective, IMF acts as an exchange control mediator to establish and maintain the currency convertibility with respect to suitable exchange rate. So to control the suitable exchange rate between the various countries, IMF acts as a mediator and looks as a certain facilitator to control the exchange rate mechanism to facilitate the expansion of balanced growth of international trade. So in order to control the balanced trade and of balanced growth of international trade, the IMF is playing a major role, and it always sees that whatever the fund that has been required, what is the amount of currency that needed to be maintained at every point of time, the control it has been maintained and regulated and governed by IMF. Another objectives of IMF to assist in the establishment of a multilateral system of payments in respect of current transactions with respect to the members. So with respect to the member countries, they have to see and they have to identify that the currency transactions have been conducted very fluently and effectively, and the exchange rate mechanism is also in a quite controlled stage. To promote the international monetary cooperation through a permanent institution which provide a machinery for consultation and cooperation. So simultaneously, it also looks for the consultation and cooperation in international monetary problems. So any financial problem related between the country or with respect to a specific individual country, IMF come forwards and control all those transactions. Another perspective, that is controlling the disequilibrium in the international balance of payment crisis. So with respect to the international, with respect to the individual concern, that is a particular country's balance of payment, either it may be a surplus or deficit with respect to the current account, capital account, official settlement account, or unilateral payment account. The IMF has also look for an objective as a concern with respect to the control of balance of payment of that international trade also. Functions of IMF. IMF is regarded as a guardian of good conduct in the area of balance of payment. So maintaining the balance of payment, creating a proper balance with respect to the surplus and deficit is the major function of IMF. It aims to reducing the tariff and other trade restrictions of the member countries. So to control the tariff restrictions and reduce the tariff barriers and the trade restrictions with respect to the tariff and non-tariff barriers, IMF also looks for controlling this particular situation of the member countries. IMF provides the technical advice to its members regarding the monetary and fiscal policy. So any guidance or any consultation with respect to the framework and implementation of either the monetary policy or the fiscal policy, IMF is acting as a certain guider or as a certain the member who is giving you a certain guidelines with respect to the concern of your either the monetary policy or either the fiscal policy. And lastly, IMF provides the machinery for orderly adjustment of exchange rate. So any of the exchange rate that we have to maintain, IMF also act as a mediator to control the exchange rate policy also. That is with respect to the increase or decreasing in the share price or increasing and decreasing in the exchange rate mechanism. So in order to control your exchange rate mechanism, that is your control of your respective domestic currency with respect to the dollar currency prices, IMF act as a mediator for controlling the currency price situation. Hello. Next function, the function as a reservoir of currencies of member countries and enables the members to borrow the currency. So another further function of IMF is to be as a reservoir. So it acts as a banker for holding the different amounts of currencies as a certain stock or availability with them. So IMF always controls or holds a certain stock of all the currencies that is wherein if at any point of time any member country or a nation needs a certain term of currency or a certain valuation or a certain denomination with respect to any denomination, the IMF acts as a reservoir and they have the availability of all types of currencies of the member countries. It also functions as a lending institution of foreign currency. So at any point of time, if a member country or a member nation wants a certain amount of currency as a part of a loan also, so it acts as a lender also, and it gives a certain amount of loan to the member countries. It conducts the short-term training courses on the fiscal, monetary, and balance of payments for employees of the member countries. So various training courses to the countries also it has been conducted by the IMF that is into existence. Understanding the organization structure, the organization structure of the IMF is as follows. Major concern, that is, it is having the board of directors. Another concern, that is the way below the board of governors, we have the executive board, a person as a managing director, and the another person as an IMF secretary, which helps in the managing director in carrying out the activities. Then furthermore, we have the interim committee and we have the development committee at the IMF level. So in this way, the structure of IMF, it has been designed and the authorities have been designated. Next perspective you have to understand is with respect to the SDR. SDR is a particular concept, a particular short note. It is with respect to the special drawing right. So it consists of a traditional reserve assets to meet the borrowing needs of a member country, and SDR are to be distributed among the participants in the proportion to their fund quotas. And SDR are popularly known as paper gold. So now SDR is directly linked with the member country and a particular IMF. So with respect to the SDR, if you are having a certain SDR of your own country, then you can exchange this particular SDR in terms of your paper currency, and with respect to your reserves of the paper currency, you get a certain amount of an SDR, and this particular SDR can be exchanged or encashed at any point of time. So it acts as a traditional reserve of your respective asset. So whatever asset that you are maintaining, whether in form of a currency or whether in form of your gold, it acts as a reservoir for your currency, and you can avail this particular amount of currency at any point of time, and it can be get encashed whenever it is being required. Now, understanding the composition or the structure with respect to the World Bank. It is also known as the International Bank for the Reconstruction and Development, and the first financial conference held at the Bretton Woods in the year 1994 gave rise to IBRD. So, whenever there was a situation of the gold standard, understanding the gold standard, that is, whenever they were at this particular point of time, the Bretton Woods conference was undertaken, and at this particular situation, whenever the establishment of gold standard was taken into consideration, the Bretton Woods Conference passed a certain resolution, and in the year 1944, the World Bank came into existence. The earlier name of the World Bank was known as IBRD, that is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The World War II has affected the manufacturing facilities of the various countries like Germany, France, and UK, and Japan and other countries. So, in order to help or support those countries, International Bank or the World Bank was been established, and it provided the financial assistance to all those countries. World Bank comprises of two institutions managed by the 188 countries, that is an IBRD and IDA. So the two countries or the two institutions that are controlling or regulating or governing the World Bank activities are: first is the IBRD, that is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and second is the IDA, that is International Development Association. From in till to the 2015, there were 188 member countries, and as on today, we have more than 194 to 195 member countries of IBRD. Objectives or aims. The aim of IBRD is to reduce the poverty in middle income and the credit worthiness poor countries, while IDA focuses on exclusively on the world's poorest countries, and these institutions are the part of the larger body known as the World Bank. So the activities of IBRD and IDA are carried on separately, wherein IBRD focuses on the middle income countries and IDA specifically focuses on the poorest countries of the world. So giving and providing the financial assistance to the world poorest or the middle income countries. Now, the country assistance strategy. So, what are the various types of or the various types of the modes of strategy that have been given by the World Bank or the IBRD or IDA? First thing, to strategies to eradicate the extreme poverty and the hunger, to achieve the universal primary education. So, to provide the primary education, the assistance is been provided. To control or reduce the poverty and hunger situation in a particular country, assistance is provided. To create gender equality among the member countries or the people of the masses, to control the child mortality rate, IBRD or ID provides you a certain fund to provide the proper maternal health to women, to ensure the environment sustainability, that is with respect to nature, and combating the various crises with respect to the HIV or AIDS or malaria, and lastly other diseases. So in order to control the COVID-19 or the coronavirus situation also, IBRD, that is a World Bank, and IDA is providing the financial assistance to all the countries at the larger scale. Now let's look at the another perspective, that is ADB, that is Asian Development Bank. Founded now Asian Development Bank, which is specifically focusing on the financial assistance for the Asian countries. It is founded in the year 1966, and it has 67 member countries of Asian region. That is 48 regional and 19 non-regional members. So the headquarters of Asian Development, that is ADB, is in Manila, that is in Philippines. ADB aims for an Asia and Pacific free from poverty. While it has achieved a significant reduction in the extreme poverty, the region remains home to about 2/3 of the world's extremely poor. So most of the world's poor countries, that is 2/3 of the poor countries, are in Asian region. So for to control the poverty line or control the poverty in the Asia and the Pacific region, the ADB has come forward and they have established or provide the financial assistance. ADB is active in creating the framework for the private sector to be involved in investing in new projects, wherein the underpin development and improves the lives of the 1.7 billion people of the globe. So for to control or to provide the proper environment, proper poverty, controlling or reducing the poverty situation of more than 1.7 billion people, ADB always provides the financial assistance for controlling the poverty line. So the benefit is given, or the financial assistance is given to the public sector as well as to the private sector. Since 2000, the ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, has created a certain fund, and it also provides the financial assistance for construction of school, bridges, health clinics, roads, poverty lines, and so on. So for different activities of the poverty control or poverty alleviation, the benefit is given by the ADB. The main devices for assistance are loans, grants, policy dialogue, technical assistance, and equity investment. So different types of instruments have been used by ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, and the financial assistance has been provided accordingly. Benefit. The benefit of ADB has been in more than the past 6 years. It has been availed to more than 19 million students, wherein the quality education was being provided by building 60,000 classrooms, and it has employed to 7,20,000 teachers. It has also helped to create 252 million people gain better access to the wider economic opportunities by building various infrastructure facilities of roads, that is for more than 56,000 kilometers of road are being developed or built by ADB, that is Asian Development Bank. Another activity that have been taken by ADB is creating a 2.1 million households with providing clean water and sanitation facilities, rehabilitation of 14,000 kilometers of water supply pipelines, connected with more than 1.8 million households to create or provide the electricity by building and upgrading more than 35,000 kilometers of power transmission and distribution lines, and reducing the greenhouse emissions by 2 million tons of carbon dioxide. So various activities with respect to the environmental factors, upgradation with respect to the power, housing, and so on, activities have been undertaken by the Asian Development Bank. International financial institution, that is issues international finances. So with respect to the currency crisis, with respect to the business transaction, and the methods of payment. So here now let's see what are the various currency crises. So currency crises are majorly with respect to the three major currency, that is the US dollar, the UK pound, and the Japanese yen. So these are the various three major currencies due to which we have to identify that the major currency crises have been identified, and these are the major three traded currencies across the globe. So the major transactions of the world economic or the global economy are conducted in terms of the dollar currency or the UK pound currency or the Japanese yen currency. Now you must be have a certain question, or you must be thinking that why euro currency is not in existence, because most of the trading currency or the transactions of the euro currency have been taken or undertaken only in European zone. So it is not treated as a global currency or a major currency which has been traded at an international level. So yeah, at this point of time, the major currency that has been used for a particular transaction or international level, it is with respect to the dollar currency, pound currency, and Japanese yen currency. Methods of payment. The various methods of payment in the international financial transactions are the payment in advance, the open account, the documentary collection, the letter of credit, the credit cards, the count, and lastly the counter trade. So first thing, the payment in advance. Now what is the concept payment in advance? That is, you can create a certain bill, and based on this particular bill of exchange, the payment date can be decided between the two parties. So whatever, whosoever may be the importer, whosoever may be the exporter, based on this particular consideration, you can identify different people, and the transaction account can be settled based on your payment in advance. So respective bill of exchange can also be into existence, and you can have either a promissory note or the checks can also be used. So with respect to the check transaction also, the payment can be made on a certain specified date or on a certain specified future date. So payment in advances is also possible. Now, understanding the situation of an open account situation. Under open account situation, the importer first receives the goods and then arranges for the payment. So unless and until the importer is receiving the certain goods and services, the delivery is not received, the payment is not made to the exporter or to the vendor. So under the open account situation, there is a particular scenario wherein unless and until the goods are not been received by the importing country, the goods are not delivered and cleared at the dock position or the port transactions, the goods or the payment is not done by a particular trader, and accordingly the transaction is being settled. So this is a particular case or a situation with respect to the open account. In terms of a documentary collection, under this method, the commercial bank facilitates the payment process, and it has two types. That is a side bill of exchange and a time bill of exchange. Now, what is a side bill of exchange? Side bill of exchange is a particular type of bill of exchange wherein unless and until the goods are not been received, unless until the clearance or the particular confirmation or approval is not given by the importer, the bill of exchange is not cleared by a certain banker. So whatever at any point of time, if the importer gives a certain clearance, if the goods have been reduced, if the goods have been cleared, if the goods have been delivered, then only at this particular point of time, the site of bill of exchange is cleared. Another situation with respect to the time bill of exchange. In terms of the time bill of exchange, it is a particular situation wherein whatever may be the situation, whether whether the goods have been delivered or not, whether the importer receives the goods and services, whether the payment is be done or not, whether the clearance of the dock or the port or trust authorities is done or not. If you present a particular bill of exchange on a certain specified date and the particular specified time, the bill gets cleared automatically. So if there is a particular bill which specifically mentioned that the due date for this particular bill is at 15th of September at 12 p.m. and if the bill is been presented on 15th of September at 12 p.m., the bill gets cleared accordingly and simultaneously. So whether the transaction is been conducted or not conducted, your transaction gets settled and the bill amount is been settled accordingly. Letter of credit. Letter of credit is an instrument by a particular bank wherein the bank promises the exporter to buy upon receiving the proof that exporter completed all the necessary formalities specified in the document. So letter of credit is a particular document which gives a certain authority or a certain constitution with respect to the what amount is been due or what amount is been credited by a particular banker. So it always gives a certain banker a certain assurance about the credibility of a particular person. So for identifying the credibility of a particular person, you can give a certain certificate, and this particular certificate acts as a certain clearance or a certain credibility certificate, which gives you a certain identification of a certain formality. So you have a certain proof that you have a certain specified banker and the transaction can be settled or the transaction can be cleared accordingly as and when it is been required. So letter of credit acts as a certain instrument of your credibility. And lastly, the credit card or the counter credit. Credit card is a particular situation wherein you can identify as you have an individual credit card of your own, of your respective individual account. The credit card of a particular company or a particular organization can also be treated and the transaction can be settled accordingly. And lastly, the counter trade. It is goods for goods and goods for bill and trading exchanges. So a specific concern with respect to the barter exchange system wherein the goods are exchanged for goods and the amount is being settled accordingly. It's called a particular situation wherein the counter trade activity it has been undertaken by the business transactions. So in this way, we come in the end of the today's lecture. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.